Welcome to Suladan Plays DOUDY, the version 0.1.3 early access. Now, before I begin, I need to voice that the version number is in this case not reflective of the game's level of completion. I've spoken to the game dev about this. He's been very nice, very upfront. The game is much nearer to completion than that number would make it sound. The full release is actually slated for later this month, but I wanted to go ahead and do the demo version, assuming it lets me. I'll get to that in a minute. For some reason, it is lagging the recording software out something weird. So once I start and get a better feel for that, I may have to tweak some settings. But I'm going to hit the play button. Oh, dear no. Okay, game is beautiful first, but there is a very much not... Ooh, okay. Game is, I don't know. It's not using up all my processor, nor is it using up all my graphics card, but there is a notable lag to it. Even in my movement, it feels like his look feels like it's carrying with it a certain amount of jar. Okay, so what I'm going to attempt to do for the sake of this video, and you may have just noticed a weird little drop, I'm dropping down to 20 frames per second in the recording specifically to see if that helps. Let's try VSync also, because that smoothed out the game a little bit. But the recording is no longer, like, flashing at me. Well, okay, a little bit. Don't, system. Anyway, so, this... I'm going to be honest, I have a little bit of difficulty translating the description of the game into something to give you. I want to offer you a game that will allow you to explore, to discover the story of Jack in a psychologically horrifying walking simulator while providing enough depth for players that want to add some spice. All for the price of a cheap pizza. Now, this last statement I have to criticize a little bit, because that depends on where you live, because where I come from, $5 is the price of a good pizza. If I want a fancy pizza, I can go like to Nuke's and get one for $8, and that's an expensive pizza where I come from. So, subjectivity of pricing schemes. The early access is scaled at $5, but after discussing with the game dev and finding out that the game is much nearer to completion, you know, again, version 0.1.3 does not mean that it's in early alpha. It is nearly complete and will be complete sometime this month, and I do hope to return to it then. But basically, psychological horror game / walking simulator. So let us walk! Well, let us run. And now there are words on the screen. Oh, it is French! Nothing like a good day in the forest to clear your mind. No phone, no internet, just nature, my dog Dowdy, and a nice weather like today. What dog? Where's dog? Dog, where are you? Out of the wall. Also, I should say the visual style in the game is outstanding. There just does seem to be some optimization things. I don't know. I really don't know. There's a barrel, and a note on the barrel. I want the note on the barrel. Hello, if you find my letter, know that my brother and I are being abused at the residential school. I beg you, help us. Contacted the police. Managed to escape with my little brother, and always, le boss, they stick syringes in our eyes. He hits us with a whip, etc. I am going to say that there is a little bit of a translation issue on some of the grammar. But, you know, the game is not... I think the game is natively in French, so, you know, it's doing a good job. Tab gave me this menu, but okay. Okay, well, I have to go through a menu to get to my inventory. Slightly clunky there, but we'll work with it.
DOUDY, où est passé ce fichu chien?
What is my dog? Why did that boulder seem to fade into reality? That boulder doesn't exist. Now the boulder does exist. Also, your stamina regeneration rate is a bit too low. Gotta be honest there. But that's just my opinion there. The game world is beautiful. I just feel like some optimization could really be done to speed and smooth things along a little bit. The reason frame rate dips are a problem
J'ai perdu mon chien.
is,
Maintenant,
gotta be honest, Adobe Premiere,
finir par me
yes, the
perdre
version
moi-même.
I have, does not like variable
DOUDY.
frame rate. It causes audio desync, and then I have to manually resynchronize and fidget with things. Otherwise, well. Anyway, long story short, it's messing with the frame rate a bit. I've not had a game do this. Like, Subnautica at full detail does not do this. And it is peculiar to me because it is not running my graphics card or my CPU in any weird way. Now, there is a second option, and that is, I'm currently in the process of moving hard drives. I'm currently booted into a clone of a hard drive that may not be running at full capacity. I don't know. Lots of hardware stuff going on in the background. Not like in the background while I'm recording, but I mean in the background of life, and that is a possibility, because I haven't recorded from this hard drive before. Basically, got a solid-state drive, in the process of moving things around so that the partition will fit on said drive. It's a long and tedious process, but it's going to speed things up when I finish. Just gotta make another... Anyway, note! Hello, note. Can I have? Boarding school. Please know the admission rules. Your child will have to perform several tasks without restriction on your part. He may be subjected to abuse if his behavior is not adapted to the boarding school. Medical treatment may be... This is... What kind of whacked out boarding school are you... Oh, hey, that window looks open. Hello, open window. There's grass inside your boarding school. There's problem number one. I mean, the lack of a ooh, oh, I thought I saw a person. Yeah, there's grass in your school. The tiniest boarding school ever. I don't know what's going on. I just want my dog. Why my dog? Why is there a... Well, what is this even? Random. You got some crazy boarding schools off in the woods, that's all. I don't know what that says. That's not English, to my knowledge. I'm gonna assume that says prison. Nope, graveyard. A prison for dead bodies. Close enough, right? Okay, it may have meant prison, actually. Or dungeon. Or dog. Where art thou, dog?
DOUDY? DOUDY. Il a sûrement dû se faufiler à l'intérieur. Je dois trouver un moyen d'entrer et récupérer mon chien.
Find a way inside to get my dog. Oh my dear goodness. Oh dear. So this is the strangest place for my dog to have wandered into. Oh, please increase the walk speed. Or increase the stamina regeneration. Or both. I know you called it a walking simulator, but some pleasant movement speed would, yes. Jump over the... Insurmountable waist-high fences do not belong in this. That's not an actual criticism, I'm just joking. Can I turn off the ground clutter? It's pretty and all, but it's probably where a lot of the resources are going. That'll make it hard to see the ground. I'm afraid there's an item on the ground somewhere at one of these gravestones. Or the boarding school. Okay. The icon to tell me that I can interact with stuff is also kind of tiny, but that's a minor critique. The game certainly has potential. I figure it's something involving this boarding school. Why are there curtains on the outside of the windows, by the way? Don't curtains normally go on the inside? See, in theory, the note is telling me is trying to draw my attention here. So it is something connected with here. But I don't see a way for me to get up. If perhaps there's just an item like laying on the ground somewhere along the path, I'm gonna have to say that that would be unfortunate. Because due to my low movement speed, I'm not going to, as a player, want to explore every inch of the place. And due to the ground clutter, I'm likely not to see what I'm looking for. I know realistically speaking, stamina does take time to regenerate. It's just that in a game, especially one where you're going to be spending a lot of time roaming, wandering, or blindly searching for things, the player is going to want to use sprinting as a means to travel and explore more quickly. So a faster stamina regeneration would benefit that. Oftentimes what you'll find is a game wants you to save your sprint for when you need to run away from something, but because of the convenience value of being able to run quickly, the player then wants to use it as an exploration tool. This was the problem I came across in Boris and the Dark Survival. I ended up sprinting everywhere, because eventually I just got tired of the obnoxiously slow walk cycle. But it had the downside of when I needed to sprint, if I was out of sprint juice, well... In that case, though, your stamina did not regenerate at all, and it was being used as a game mechanic in itself. So slow regeneration is greatly appreciated. Oh, hang on. Have I been over here? Just glow. Why are you glow? Why are sunlight come through rock? I don't think that's how sunlight works. Your sun is broken. We just put it out and try again. I know somewhere in the game is a set of bolt cutters, or something to that distinction. Hello, lighting. Yeah, there's some kind of weird lighting going on. It would be really nice if I could turn off the ambient occlusion, too. That is probably sucking up a lot of system resources, and it makes my eyes hurt. I love the idea. Don't get me wrong. There are many graphical options that can be quite beautiful. Motion blur, ambient occlusion, the light beams, dynamic shadows, all of these things. Some of them have become standard over the year, like dynamic shadows. It was once a luxury, now it's kind of standard. Ambient occlusion can be beautiful. The problem is, one, it depends greatly upon the game. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Also, too much ambient occlusion can cause eye strain because your eyes don't realize the image on the screen is intentionally blurred. Your eyes are trying to focus the blurred image, and it is undue strain on them. I find often that you want to use minimal ambient. I think ambient occlusion is the one where distant things are blurred. It's to simulate your eyes focus. So, like if the character's looking at an ID card here, the rest of the world blurs. If I'm calling it by the wrong name, then whoops. But basically, it is used best in minimal situations where distant objects are lightly blurred, but not hugely so. I find that if you overdo it, one, it is an unnecessary drain on processing. But two, it tends to eye strain and act more as an effect that obscures things than an effect that aids in the game's beauty. Now, I love the fog and the lighting going on here. I do feel like the ambient occlusion is a little too high. Motion blur likewise can be beautiful and well done, and I'm not really coming across that problem in this game, but just while on the subject, but some games overdo it to the point that it can become an eyesore, and in some cases there are people that get motion sickness from motion blur, and therefore the option to disable it is always appreciated. I love having a plethora of graphics options. I like options, especially when it comes to graphics and the like, because it can greatly widen the availability of your game to people of varying systems and varying tastes. Because honestly, this game, some of the lighting is kind of giving me eye strain. I can just feel it. Over the years, I've learned to detect it. You can generally detect it when your eyes are straining. There's a subtle sensation in the eyes. They'll start to burn eventually. You'll end up with red eyes. Motion blur, I generally don't have as many examples of games that have overdone it, though, in my opinion. I do know others who disagree with me, and this is a subjective area because it is greatly depending on one's own individual perception. I like the motion blur in Dark Souls, for instance. I generally only notice it on the elevator and such, where I kind of like it being. On the other hand, if you motion blur everything too much, it just means that turning creates a muddy ocean of colors. This game's not doing that. Again, I'm just kind of rambling on graphical subjects while I wander, and while my co-pilot searches out any interesting items that may be lingering on the ground. I feel like there is, in this game... Okay, that's a graphical anomaly, and it amuses me. There's an oversaturation of lights and darkness. The high contrast is pretty, but like when I look in the distance at that tree in the middle, there's this blurring effect of just lines. And that could be neatened up and polished. It is... If the intention is for the world to have a surreal quality, it is doing that very well, because this world does have that slightly dreamlike surrealness to it as a result. Did I just jump through a tree? Well, can I jump in the... I'm inside of a tree. Why am I inside of a tree? The world may never know. Okay, I found a bit of a bug. Oh, never mind, you can just walk through trees. Well. So that's a... Ghost trees. That was surreal. See, my thought would be that somewhere in this graveyard would be a key that would then let me into the house, which would then let me get the flashlight. Oh! Oh! So I love that I can interact with these. My problem, the game didn't tell me I could interact with them. I just happened to click and up flew the box. So that's a thing. Like, it didn't give me the little hands icon to say, hey, you can interact with this. You move, box. Ooh, perfect. Thank you, box. But yeah, this right here, you need a hand icon or something to tell the player that the box is interactable. I love that I can interact with them. I just do feel like it was slightly obscure and that I literally only found it because of dumb luck. I had no reason to click that box because I had no reason to think I could interact with it or that the physics was interactable at all. You'll find that a lot of games that allow you to interact with objects do let you know which objects you can interact with, or they have previously, through some form of tutorial, set a precedent to tell you, hey, some objects are interactable. Like, you know, Amnesia set a precedent for itself by having you move objects around so that you then, you know, knew you could move them around. I got a key, got a key, got a key, got a key, got a key. Okay, so now, see, I brings me to the menu instead of the inventory. Left button to use object. Inventory system could use a little work. First, I would recommend having the I button or tab actually bring you to this screen. Second, instead of having an entire screen for the inventory, you know, maybe have it come up at the top or bottom of the screen and you can mouse wheel through the different items that are on your list. Well, I got a flashlight. I got bolt cutters.
J'ai enfin trouvé la pince. Je dois aller briser les
There are no children here.
Pour sûrement retrouver DOUDY à l'intérieur.
I was kind of hoping I could break. Oh. Well, that's neat. See, it gives me the little hand icon to tell me that I can interact with it. The boxes don't have that. But I got a flashlight. And I can make it go click while I'm running. Why am I making it click? Because I have nothing better to do while I'm running. So far, my biggest critique would be one, kind of tweak the inventory interface a bit, but gameplay-wise, put a hand icon on the wooden boxes. That would fix it right there. I worry about the players that don't realize they can click the boxes because I found
DOUDY?
By dumb luck.
DOUDY, il a sûrement dû se faufiler à l'intérieur.
Wait, this is the boarding school?
Moyen d'entrer et récupérer mon chien.
What was the other? What was the little? Oh my dear goodness, what have I done? Hi, I didn't sign up for this. Can I not? Well, this just entered a whole new world of surreal. Game saved. Holy. What kind of twisted world did I just walk into? Okay. I'm just appreciating all these horrifying artworks. Nope. 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 I saw something over there. I know. Am I hiding from something right now? Why can't I pick up the cutlery? God, I really miss Amnesia's interaction where I could just pick stuff up and throw it. Don't do that to me, game. What is this? Why are there leaves hanging from the ceiling? Really? Like, this is a dark place. Why are there vines and leaves and all growing? Well, that happened. Was it interactable? And yeah, that's not horrifying. The monster's just gonna wander in and like, what are you doing to these bodies? I have no crouch ability, just so you know. -3, but I'm hearing horrifying sounds. I'm assuming I needed that number. I saw a hand. A cup. A foot. An arm. I don't know. Whatever that sound is coming from that way. And I don't much want none of it. Too bad I don't speak French, so I don't know what was just said. I heard something groan and I thought I heard footsteps. I did. I did. I don't know what you are, but I don't want none of it, that's what. I don't want none. I need to go that way. So now I just need to wait on him to go past me. I hear footy steps. I'ma just run this way. Man, this is tense. How dare it be tense? Oh, hi. You the headmaster? I'm from the health department and I have concerns about your treatment of small children. And the fact there's a foot in the sink. An amputated foot. I mean, a regular foot in the kitchen sink would have been bad enough, but there was an amputated foot in the kitchen sink. And we got all kinds of rules about that. Sir, I really need to speak to you. Your treatment. Oh, hello. Horrifying statue. And dripping blood. Okay, and that says E something. He's coming. I'm neither inside nor outside of the closet, but he knows not. Don't be on the other side of walls making noises at me, man. Oh, now you're playing some kind of weird instrument now. Y'all need help. Waiting for him to pass by again. The patrol mechanic is very nice and predictable, but it's also a downside when you've got to wait. Then again, if I didn't know how long to wait, I'd be stuck waiting forever. So, I'll take that. Yeah, you go that way. Make sure he doesn't follow me. I have a problem with this. Okay. We know there's a 7 and a 3. Oh, hi. You didn't see nothing. Go away. E12 73. Oh, das gerade ich Stunde. Can you tell me there? Is that saying 1 plus 2, or is that? A, B, C, D, E, E12. Is that saying the last 2 digits are 1 and 2, or is it saying to add the 2 digits together? I think it's saying to do whatever math. In this case, it's 1 plus 2, so the last digit is 3. The reason I say that is the first one I saw had 7 minus 3, so I think they're requiring math. I'll be in here. Waiting. You just slink by. Yeah, you make good noises, Voldemort. That's why we told you you weren't allowed to have your own school. Okay, so somewhere, one of them is a 6. So there's a 6 involved. At an unknown position. A 6 and a 4. I forgot I had a flashlight. Just looking around to see if there's any hint to which letter. Why is there a 2? Is that printed on the opposite wall? We're gonna ignore that 2. And go with the 7 and 3. Okay, so we've got a 4, a 6. We got 3 digits so far. closed. The other ones are all open. The only other item I have is a note. See ya. Where'd I go? You'll never know. So we got a 4 and a 6. Sneaking up on who now, huh, buddy? How far does he go before he turns around? Right there, okay. I want that door to close itself all of a sudden, yeah? I don't know. Probably should not harass the spookum. So we know E is 3. 4, 8, and 2. Boy, it'd be nice if that actually worked. Oh, he didn't come this far. Okay. Well, that's splendid. That means I have plenty of time to try to figure this out. E. A. Okay, I've tried all the number keys. All the numpad keys. And there's the I. Oh. Oh, hey. L's doing... Oh, no, L's the flashlight. This is 8 and 2. Should change the symbol. 4 and 6 should change which drum, which one I'm changing. But they're not doing so. So I'm probably just gonna have to pause this one. Why am I unable to move? What have I done? Well, this is a thing. We're in slow motion land now. I mean, at least my movements are. I don't know. I've tried it with numlock on and off. And it's just not doing this thing. Oh, that's what there's a game-breaking bug that does not allow you to use the lock. Resetting allowed me to use it. Luckily, there was a save mechanic. Should have figured that. That's what he meant by the lock. So yeah, so far the 3 things. 1, make the boxes at the start show that you can interact with them. 2, clean up the inventory interface a bit. 3, bug that makes lock not always function. Okay, so I accidentally I accidentally didn't record the last part. Basically, if you get stuck at the part with the key, you can close and reopen the game, and it will, you know, make the combination lock functional again. I'm restarting back from the beginning, though, because I'm going to go ahead and kind of showcase my thoughts on the game and critiques while playing back to where I was. You can hit the load button to return to where you were. You don't have to restart the game like I just did. Firstly, the subtitles and letters, at least in the English version, need to be polished a little bit grammatically. The message is there, but I feel like some of the grammar is rough. It could use a little bit of a cleaning up there. And again, this is just in the English version. I know nothing of French. I know how to say French in French, but that's the extent of my French. The game's inventory needs to be neatened up. One, hitting I or tab brings this up. This is the game's menu. This is what hitting the escape button should bring up. Hitting I or tab should either bring this up, or you could bring up, have a little inventory window come up on screen that I would mouse wheel through the items. There's not enough items in the early access for that to really be a problem, but I do think the inventory window needs to be polished up. Okay, somehow I got stuck in sprint mode. I'm going to take advantage of this while it lasts. Okay, second thing. Wow, I triggered multiple things. Another thing that needs to be mentioned, these boxes need to have a hand symbol telling me that I can interact with them. There's also the fact that they have next to no weight, and that if you grab a box from underneath a box, you can do really fun, crazy stuff with the physics. They also don't seem to have any kind of substantial mass, which, while it's fun to chuck this big box around, having each of the boxes move at different rates, kind of like the body in the next area that I couldn't lift off the ground, just adds a sense of substance and makes an object feel more real. Now, there is something to be said for how much fun it is just to do... Oh my dear goodness. Stuff like that land on me. Ah, cool. I'm dead. It's more important mainly with character movement and animations in certain games where you want them to feel like they do have weight, but the object interactions, likewise, this feels like low gravity. This is moon magic going on over here. I don't know if the engine you're running in will, easily let you do that, but just mentioning that as a possible critique. But more importantly, you want the boxes to let the player know they're interactable. Interacting with them and stacking them and all works fine, aside from them clipping into each other, and, I can launch them and do really fun, wacky physics things. Like, well, worked with the little box. Well, it did it a minute ago. But basically, just let the player know they can interact with them. Show the little hand symbol like you do for other items that says, hey, this is interactable. Okay. Boxes aside, next, you're going to want to neaten this up. You have grass clipping into your building, and you probably don't want that to happen. What happens if I leave without the flashlight? I like that you can interact with the drawers, but the fact that there's nothing there, a little sad, but graphically you want to fix this so there's not grass inside the building. And if anything I mention is something you're already planning to do, then whoops, I'm just mentioning it as it comes to me. And then next we've got this area in here. You cut the door. Cut the door. I have bolt cutter. I had bolt cutter. Did I lose the bolt cutter? I don't know. I had the bolt cutter. Okay, so there's a bug that you can somehow lose the bolt cutter.
DOUDY.
Oh, if you hold down sprint after you run out of stamina, it recharges it faster. I don't know if that's intentional, but I like that. My guess is that it's still trying to subtract from my stamina bar, but it's going into the negatives and looping back to positive somehow. But hey, it's giving me stamina regeneration that's more conducive to my need to run around, so. Oh. Well, I'm trapped in the house now. Well, that box ain't coming back. The medium box I needed kind of flew over the mountain. The interior of the house out there with the clamps, for one thing, those are not bolt cutters. Those would be nippers for like cutting nails. Bolt cutters look quite different. That aside, the building that you find them in has grass growing in it. You may want to, if you can, remove the ground clutter from the region inside the house so it looks more like a house. Next, I seem to keep hitting a glitch where, you know...
DOUDY? DOUDY.
Oh, okay, it worked this time.
Il a sûrement dû se faufiler à l'intérieur.
Walk up to it, don't click on it. That's the key. I kept clicking on it. Clicking on it makes you lose your bolt cutters and not open the door. I love the box physics, but the boxes can be a bit of a pain to deal with. Because the physics with them is a little clunky. Next, I don't know whether you're supposed to be able to get into room B or not, but since I found 4 out of 5 of the combination numbers, you can easily brute force the 5th. Next, I feel like there are quite a number of lockers inside here, and that one over there in the corner could probably be removed without much effect, unless it's just there for world building purposes, in which case it's doing a good job. It would be nice if the school had more rooms in it. Maybe a second floor? I don't know. It just feels a little small. And like there's only really the one hallway. Oh, and I've already forgotten the combination. I know this one was 9. That one's 4. Oh, there we go. And that door doesn't seem to open. You just walk through it and push it open for some reason. This is the section that I accidentally didn't record. It's a very creepy nursery. Some of the letters bleed through, by the way. Like, I can see the C, but I don't see it. I don't see the other letters. Lots of creepy baby stuff going on in here. More dog barking. But the room itself appears
DOUDY.
empty.
Ah, Seigneur, tu es
But
vivant,
perhaps
tu es là.
boxes. Boxes.
J'arrive, mon chien.
Explosion of
Où
boxes.
es-tu?
And then you go through here into the White Room. Thank you for playing the early access version, about half of the story. Thank you for contributing in this way to the finalization of the project. Keep yourself informed for the rest of the story. Right now the game is under construction for an adventure of about 2 hours of play. Then you click main menu, and that's the end of the early access version. Now, I would have personally priced the early access at about $2.50 to $3. It is very interesting, but due to its shortness, $5 feels a little high for its current state. The full game may be $4 or $5. I mean, I know the price isn't going to change. I just meant like the way I'm describing it. I would have waited until the full release to have jumped up to the $4 to $5 mark. The game is interesting and has a lot of potential. I do see rough spots in the overall polish, some of the mechanics, some of it in the design of the world. Like I mentioned at the start, the outside world, I would almost say remove most of the ground clutter. The grass feels very repetitive because there's only one version of it and it's everywhere. Remove the grass from inside of the building. That's the main one. Increase the amount of time you can sprint or make sprint energy, stamina recover quicker. you do spend a lot of time kind of waiting on the stamina to slowly recover, and that is bothersome as a player. The bolt cutters need to look like bolt cutters, probably. Because again, those aren't bolt cutters. Bolt cutters are the big red-handled things with the actual, it looks like a set of scissor blades on the end that open and do that. Nippers are what you show. They have a horizontal blade that cuts like, like that, and they're not for cutting chain. I mean, I'm sure if you made a big enough set of them, you could cut chain, but that's not what they're made for. The box physics is clunky. The boxes themselves do not feel substantial. The big box and little box move equally easily. And while I love the low gravity ability to just fling them wildly, it makes positioning them for puzzles a bit of a pain. If you make the larger box heavier, it might be easier to position smaller boxes around it without knocking it around. Increasing the player's jump height a little bit would equally help because it would take fewer boxes. Because I get the feeling the medium-sized boxes aren't meant to be jumped on. Because I have to jump against them a few times to get up onto it. Which is sad given they're, no higher than my knees. But increasing the jump height would let me go medium, big box, roof. Or medium, big box, then big box on top of medium, then roof, instead of little box, medium box, big box, little box on top of it. There's too many boxes. And that's coming from me. I like boxes. The gravity also feels a bit low. Like I've said, when I threw a box straight up, I was just standing around watching it drift. And then it came back down. Which was hilarious, but it makes them not feel substantial, which makes moving them around difficult. I would also enjoy seeing like if the silverware and other objects inside the school could be moved. And the ability for the player to throw things. It'd be neat to, pick up one of the cups and throw it and have the shattering sound draw the creature to it. But that adds more complexity, and, that's just me. I loved the first Amnesia game for having a world that felt real because so many things were interactable. That chair over there, yep. Potted plant over there, yep. That rock. I had to throw a rock at something for a puzzle. That level of physics interaction was glorious. Like, I've seen VR games that try, that's like Boneworks level interaction. But the interior layout of the school is interesting, but again, I don't know if I can get into room B or if I'm supposed to get A, C, D, and E and then just figure out B from that, which is what I did because you've narrowed it down to 10 possibilities. The layout of the school feels very linear. It would be nice if it connected back to itself somehow, like that main hallway looped all the way around and then the rooms are all, connected somehow. But it is interesting, it is surreal, it leaves me wanting more. I hope that the final game can fulfill that curiosity, and I look forward to playing it later this month when it comes out, assuming it comes out on the, predicted time. But that appears to be all there is to mention for now. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Game Dev, for producing the game, and I will see you next time.